Alright guys, this raid has returned and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to beat part 7 with the new Season 3 Charlotte. She's going to be used in Phase 2 specifically, but you guys want to be clearing parts 4, 5, 6, or 7 consistently to be able to buy everything in the shop. That is going to help out your account a lot, especially if you're a free-to-play player. So like if you take a look at the shop, there's some really good stuff here. First and foremost, buy the stamina every day if you can, if you are beating it at like part 5 or higher, because that stamina is just great, right? Everything in the game requires stamina, and especially with the new characters that have just dropped, you're going to want that stamina to be able to farm out bond and everything else. And then you can also buy shards of will. I consider these very important as well, because these are how you upgrade skills, and these are some of the hardest things to come by. You can get crystals of will and fragments of will, I feel like, a little bit easier than you can shards of will, so I'd probably buy these up too if you can. And then of course we have the coveted SSR Versatile Mage piece, which is insanely good, because this is basically a free dupe for any character that you want to put it into. So you definitely want to be completing the raid every day. That way you guys can get these 500 coins to buy the Versatile Mage piece. After just one day of doing 2 runs, you can see I am at 123 coins and I have already bought the stamina. So you get really good first time clear rewards from part 7. So this was actually my first time clearing part 7. I didn't do it back during season 1 because my units just weren't strong enough yet. And so you get 50 coins for the first time clear, as well as your 45 to 49 right here. So that's basically 100 coins just for clearing part 7 one time. So you definitely want to at least be able to clear it one time. So here's the teams that I use to do it. This will be a pre-recorded video of my runs, because floor 1 took quite a few resets to do, whereas on floor 2 I didn't reset at all. My first time trying this team, it worked out phenomenally. Like, this Charlotte is insanely good, Kahono is really good. Like, these characters just all work really really well together. Okay, so let me start by explaining floor 1's team. So the gear that you're going to have on Raya is attack gear, because you're running him with William. William buffs attack. Now, if you were going to run Sally in place of William, which you could maybe do if you put defense gear on everybody, then you would want to run magic attack on Raya, because Sally buffs more magic attack than she does attack. But for this build, Raya, you want attack gear. Then on Nebra, I have mobility gear. Same for William and same for Lotus. All 3 of them have mobility gear. And the idea is that we are going to buff Raya with William, okay? Give him a bunch of buffs. We're going to debuff with Nebra. We're also going to debuff with Lotus, and specifically Lotus is here to do the speed down on his ultimate. And if he speeds down the enemy, it's going to give us just enough leeway to get our nuke in before the enemy gets a second turn. Okay, so it's a really like tight team. You can't really switch much out. I tried switching out like Lotus for Mimosa for healing and stuff like that. It just didn't work as well. So this team build, I really can't offer any alternatives to these characters, except for I could say Nebra you could replace potentially with Charlotte, but in order to get Charlotte to survive, red Charlotte, you would have to put defense gear on her and instead of speed gear, and that might end up making Raya faster than Charlotte. And in that case, you won't be able to do your defense down and incapacitate before Raya gets his chance to nuke. So I truly do think this is the only way to set up this particular team, you know, and it works out pretty well. So here's an idea for team 1, floor 1. And then for team 2, okay, the gear that I'm running on Julius is going to be magic attack gear. The gear that I am running on Charlotte is once again mobility gear. The gear that I am running on Kahono and Charmy is going to be HP gear. Okay, so I'll kind of show you guys these things real quick. So mobility gear on Charlotte. Remember, this mobility gear is pretty much the same for the other 3 units, William, Lotus, and Nebra on team 1. Okay, so this is pretty much what I have. I have mobility, a gold set, and defense, a gold set, to give her a little bit more survivability. So that's ideally what you want on your mobility characters or your support characters. It's going to help them out a lot. And then for my healers here, they both scale off of HP. So instead of worrying about gear sets, I just went for straight HP on both of them. Okay, so that's kind of what you want for gear for your teams and your characters. Hopefully that makes sense. And with all that said, let's get into showing you the run. All right, here we go. This is the start of the run. So William is going to be faster than the boss right here, meaning I can use my Fortify to protect my team from the big damage that is incoming. Now, with this particular team, it does not matter if he lasers like he's about to do, or if he does the other attack pattern, because your team will survive pretty much no matter what with William. Then whenever you do defense down and buff immunity, and then with a Lotus here, I was debating on whether to use skill 2 or his special skill. You do want to use his special skill here with the 50% chance to inflict reduced speed. Now remember, if you don't land the reduced speed, you're probably going to have to reset, okay? Because you need that reduced speed so the boss doesn't get a turn very fast. That way you are able to get your full amount of damage in, okay? So you can see the reduced speed in the top left on the boss. I use skill 2 on Raya. Now I'm going to go ahead and buff Raya's speed. Very important you have a mobility set on Nebra, that way she goes before Raya. If you don't, then Raya will go first and you won't have the incapacitate before you do your nuke. Same thing with Lotus, you want speed on Lotus so that he goes before Raya as well. Now we got extend debuff duration, we also have concentrated attack. We have a bunch of buffs on Raya now, so you can see all the buffs right here, and of course the incapacitate debuff that is on him. And now we're going to go ahead and use his special skill. So with the incapacitate, concentrated attack, and defense down, we hit a massive amount of damage. Not quite enough to finish him off though, but Raya is so fast from the buff from William, we are able to go again immediately, right? 74,000 more damage. And then we're able to get one more attack in with William before the boss goes. Now ideally, you have it over before William even goes right there, but unfortunately, we didn't have quite enough damage, okay? So I had to finish this up with just this extra little attack here at the end. But honestly, not too bad. That was a pretty clean run overall, and it's a fairly consistent way to beat this boss, which is what I try to show you guys when I do these raid guides, okay? Now we get into Phase 2, and this Phase 2 I would say is also a fairly consistent way to beat the Phase 2 boss. So we have a bunch of defense with Charlotte, a bunch of defense with Kahono and Charmy, and then healing with Kahono and Charmy as well. So we're going to go ahead and give counterattack to everybody for the first turn. I don't have the counterattack all the way upgraded yet. It's like I think 80% activation rate right now. Julius does die, does not matter because he has the temporal reversal. And now he will never die again because we'll be able to start actually getting our defense and stuff stacked up. So we're going to go ahead and use this to start with. Get rid of the mobility on the enemy. Do a pretty decent amount of damage. Then we're going to get our barriers going and get some defense up with Kahono because Kahono increases defense. Then we're going to go ahead and get some more defense with Charmy and more healing, right? And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to get some more defense with Charlotte. Okay, and now what we have with Julius is a insanely good attacker who is built primarily for magic attack damage that now has insane freaking defense. Like, he is just so good, right? And now he has additional attack buffs from both Kahono and from Charlotte. So it's such a good combo running these three together. It does, I'll admit, take a little bit of time to get through this, but I would almost bet you could run this team on auto here and get away with it. Like, you will see that for the rest of this run, the boss does not touch this team, like, at all. It's insane. Like, look at that. On Charlotte, Charlotte barely got any damage. She's not even feeling that. Then we give even more defense, attack up, and you're just able to keep doing this over and over and over again until eventually you kill the boss. So right here, we're going to go ahead and use the combo skill. I just wanted to give a little bit more defense with Charlotte because Charlotte gives defense on her combo skill too, because I knew that was coming, right? And then it doesn't matter. We're going to go ahead and we're going to barrier. We're going to increase defense. We're going to heal again. And it's GG's. It's literally so easy with this particular team, okay? And Charlotte gives counterattack to Julius every time that she uses her skill 1, which is really nice. So you can see Julius gets some nice little chip damage in there with his counterattack. And we can decrease mobility with Julius if we want. I'm not going to do it yet because of where the bar is for the mobility bar. And then we're going to go ahead and give counterattack again. And it goes on all my characters right there, which is really cool. Go ahead and do this. Now, you don't always get to make full use of the counterattack with the special skills, so keep that in mind because you are depleting mobility of the boss, and the counterattack only lasts for 1 turn. So keep that in mind using the counterattack with Charlotte. It's almost better to use her combo skill if you can for the extra defense than it is to actually use the counterattack as her special skill in PvE in particular. Okay. So you can see Julius did some big damage there. he can still hit pretty big damage numbers with this team, even though it's a more defensive team, because once again, like I said, Kahono and Charlotte do both buff attack, which is just insanely good. And you can see even Julius, not being a tank character, not taking much damage. And those counterattacks are coming in big, right? Mobility depletion is massive in this stage. It's so good. Everything about this team is really, really good. I'm so happy I pulled for Kahono, and if you guys didn't pull for Kahono, she is still a general pool unit, so you still have a chance to get her right. But very, very, very good blue team right here when it comes to just taking on PvE content and doing that long form type of run where you aren't just trying to nuke, but you're just trying to sustain. And then from here, it's just literally repeat. I'm just repeating until Julius eventually kills, right? As you can see, all of my characters are still full health. Even at this point, it's not even a worry to me. We got that extra defense with Charmy. We are so good. And we get even more defense from Charlotte. It's just nuts. It's nuts how much Julius can do as well. There it is. There it is. That is the raid for you guys. Obviously, not too bad, right? So yeah, hopefully that helps you guys out. If you guys did enjoy the video, please consider going down there, hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button, and thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.